But
I got another hot take for you about it too.
I'm really thinking about it, and maybe.
It ain't even one
Because all of our favorite shows, like all the shows that I think we consider the GOAT, you can't say that about.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? And now that I'm starting to think about it, you might be right because I'm starting to think. I'm like Breaking Bad. Nah. Breaking Bad. It didn't. It wasn't that it had like a but it didn't. It didn't. And then I'm thinking about Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy kind of peaked around season 5.
I'm about to say because the last season definitely they was doing some goofy shit in that last season.
Yeah.
I think Succession is the only show that got better every year, and the best season, probably the last season. I got one more hot take. It's the only show without a bad episode. It ain't one like straight through. It's some slow episodes, but it ain't one bad episode.
I'm about to say, what's the definition of bad? That's the key thing in play here.
That's a good question.
You know what I mean?
These conversations are gonna be had at some point. Y'all gonna hear them in full. We just want to give y'all a little now. But I would say a bad episode where you could say it's not where nothing happened, because it did have episodes where nothing happened. But I feel like it was it was one of them shows. Like, so for the example that I give is
let me ask you a quick question before you say
Fly episode. Go ahead.
Is a bad episode worse than a 40-degree day? In other words,
it did have some just all right episodes. But
I'm about to say, in other words, they're not. I get what you're saying when you say they're not bad, but they're not anything you really talk about either. They're 40-degree day.
Fair.
Nobody gives a fuck about a 40-degree day.
That's fair.
I think that Succession has some of those.
They do have 40-degree day episodes. I'll give you that, but bad, no. Because
the Fly
all of my
episode,
favorite shows I can think of has just terrible episodes. The Fly episode, dream sequences with Tony and The Sopranos. Some people would say the whole, not me, but The Wire season 2.
No, season 2. Anybody that doesn't like season 2 just lets me know you've only seen The Wire once.
You ain't pay attention to the show.
Yeah,
you ain't pay attention to the show.
So I'll say this. I'm not gonna say I don't like season 2, but I am gonna say that it's not my favorite season.
It's my second favorite.
I'm about to say the more I watch The Wire, it's creeping up. I think it might have reached top 3.
Season 2, it's season 3, season 2 for me. Those are the top 2.
Nah, see, season 4 is season 3 for me.
So season 4 is my favorite season. Season 3 is probably right next to it, and then it kind of, depending on how I'm feeling. It could be 5, 3, and I mean 5, 2, and 1 could all be interchangeable depending on how I'm feeling.
I think 5 is probably at the bottom, and I like 5.
You were the one that made me rewatch 5.
Yeah,
because you were putting out all the intricacies of 5, and I'm like, it just wasn't what I was expecting.
And that's what I was about to say real quick, Chaz. You mentioned I pointed out the intricacies, and I was going to ask you, Spike, but I know you. I know both of you well enough. You do watch television for the entertainment, but you also like the connections and how deep it is, and the writing and the character development and character arcs and the whole 9. When you think about an episode like The Fly, I forget what it's actually called in Breaking Bad, the dream sequences in Sopranos. Is there a part of you that appreciates? I don't know. Do you look at it as creativity, or do you just think it's bullshit? Like y'all just wasting our time?
Bullshit. I still to this day don't know about the Fly episode. I don't understand. I still to this day don't understand. I think I might even.
I'm with Spike. I think it's like they ran out of ideas.
Okay. Yeah.
And they had to put some filler shit in.
Okay. So let me ask y'all this: a show that intentionally went out of its way, in my opinion, to spark conversation was Atlanta. How do y'all feel about Atlanta?
Pissed me off.
The entire series, or
I rewatched it. I rewatched it during. I rewatched it because I used to work from home. Or it ain't even been a full year. I don't think. We watched it within the last year, and they got some episodes and some sequences like full season just piss you off. Like, bro, you sold me something different in season 1. You sold me something different, and I ain't even really get that back until season 4 or the last season.
Yeah,
like I hated when they went off to, and it wasn't bad TV. It just wasn't what I was there for. Like, I didn't give a fuck about none of them side stories, bro. That shit pissed me off rewatching. And I was like, bro, like, I damn near had to skip one season. That season in Europe, oh,
yeah,
bro,
season 3,
disgusting. It was some funny stuff in there too, but I didn't want to see that shit.
This is fascinating because I will say this: watching Atlanta in real time back when it was actually on the air, especially like you said, everybody got like really famous and booked. And remember, if anybody remembers the gaps in between seasons, like it took 2 years between 1 and 2, and then like another 3 or 4 between 2 and 3, and they filmed 3 and 4 together. Yep. But watching it in real time felt different than rewatching. And I just started rewatching season 1, and I definitely appreciate it, but it felt different because maybe we hadn't really seen anything like that and that black and that kind of out the way. There's still some moments that are black as shit. Yeah, that I can appreciate. And there's also some moments that's just like, whoa, what the fuck was y'all thinking about when you wrote this? Like the pajama episode when they go down to the party, right? With Tracy. Tracy starts to fight. No, not the Drake party. I'm talking about when they the pajama party at the college. Tracy and Earn fight, all that shit.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate that. I really appreciate the conversation between Earn and Paperboy. Just about like, nigga, I know you family, but sometimes that ain't enough. Nigga, I gotta handle this shit, bro. I might fire your ass. Like, for real, family or no family. I thought that was dope. But the setting of it was wild. Like, what made you want to put this big Confederate flag in the background? These naked white dudes with their dicks out. Like, what is the thought process when it comes to that? Yeah, it's like I always wonder, because I know a lot of people try to be different or just say, fuck it, I got this idea and I just wanted to see if I could do it. Or is it deeper than that? It's just always something, because I would never sit down and want to think of a crazy scenario like that and put it on film. But that's why I'm not a filmmaker. But that's interesting. Chaz, what you think about Atlanta? I know your favorite episode.
So I kind of feel like Atlanta had a very steep drop off. Like a very steep drop off but I will say this, it did provide me some of the funniest moments in
facts
in TV. Like facts. Some of the shit that I still to this day, it's been years and I still can cry laughing. Like,
bro, like the nigga that's a boy.
Oh
nigga
yeah,
that's a man.
Oh yeah,
bro. I laughed like the first time I seen that when I rewatched it. And you know what I forgot about? The invisible car. I was crying with that. Gator Man. The nigga brought that, man. It was some classic shit on that though.
I watched the Crank That. I watched the Crank That Killer in the last season, not too long ago. That shit was hilarious.
Yeah, man.
So it's definitely got some shit, but it's also got that, like you said, that artsy shit and some shit. Like the Teddy Perkins episode is widely regarded, critically is regarded as the best episode of Atlanta.
See, it didn't do it for me. While even though I got it, it didn't do it for me. And like the episode, while like I said, it was good, but it's not what I watch Atlanta for. When they adopted a little black dude, and they had them children like damn near working slaves. Like that was good if it had been on like Black Mirror or something.
But you know that was based on real. That's a real story.
Yeah, we covered it on Is the Mic Song.
Yeah, that shit crazy.
But yeah, like that was good, but it's just I don't tune into Atlanta to see that.
Indeed, man.
The reparation story was good too.
The reparation was funny, and that anytime you had the people listen. We'll talk about it one day, man. Speaking of, that's a perfect transition. Yep. You hear the voices. Rich, joined by the legend Spike Lou. Not alone, though. We got the third member of the Best Episode Ever crew. For those who don't know, Best Episode Ever is a podcast that we'll be releasing very soon. We've already recorded one series, Entourage. We'll be uploading those week by week, and we will be discussing a new series after that. But yeah, man, Chaz is in the building with us. What's going on, Boogie? How you feeling?
Man, shit, I'm feeling good, feeling great. How are y'all, man?
Good, man. Good to be back with you.
Doing good, man. Good to have the gang together. Let me go ahead and I need to pull up so we can have a conversation while I pull up these comments because we definitely got a lot. Shout out to Ken for being on the episode last week, man. Got a lot of good feedback. I had a great time talking to him, the whole nine. Pull up these YouTube comments real quick. I think we got some Spotify comments too, which is kind of crazy. But Chaz.
Yes, sir.
You're not gonna be on here before the you probably won't be back on, should I say, before the fights. What's up, man? What you thinking?
Okay.
Chaz is a boxing aficionado for those out there if you don't know, so that's why I gotta ask him.
So I feel like all the A sides are gonna win on the Friday card, which is Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero. I feel like he's gonna stop Rolly, but it's gonna be competitive.
Who, Garcia?
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna stop Rolly, but it's gonna be a competitive fight. I also feel like T.O. is gonna edge out Barbosa, but I would not put money on that because T.O. likes to fight down to his competition, and he might not think too much of Barbosa. So it's not unlikely that he pulls off the upset. The Devin Haney fight, I think that Devin Haney is skilled enough to where he should beat Jose Ramirez, but if he has any PTSD, it could be bad because Ramirez has a decent left hook. Now it's not as fast as Ryan Garcia's, but if Devin Haney is lazy with that jab and he gets countered over that jab with that hook, it's bad. It's all bad for him.
This nigga, hey man, hold on. I just appreciate your boxing knowledge, man, because my man just went on a full unscripted dive into what he thought is gonna happen in the fights. Real quick, Canelo, dub, right?
Yeah, Canelo washes, dude.
Easy dub. I found the comment, so I appreciate the interlude, man. I will be watching the fights. I think we might have to. We talked about linking for a film for the Culture Garden that week, man. We might have to go ahead and make that happen. Also, we need to go ahead and schedule that No Country for Old Men, that 2.0. Had that conversation on that film. We teased it a little bit when we were doing Entourage, but we need to go ahead and have that convo.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Y'all want to do it? I'm anytime I get an excuse to watch that, I'm here for
it. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
We'll get it shaking,
that's
man.
That's my shit.
Want to go to YouTube real quick for some comments on our last episode, chapter 25. Public Enemy B, our guy. You know what I'm saying? Another week in the book family. It was cool as hell to hear some of the stories regarding Dead End Start. Watching them since 2011, 2012, it's been nice to see and hear the expansion into all of the different forms of media content they have now. I remember when Spike first showed up on Is the Mic Still On for what I think was an Ice Cube convo about the contract with Black America. And he showed up in the Ice Cube shirt ready for combat. LOL, great times, and been rocking with them since. Dope to see Ken on. Those are the comments from Public Enemy B, man. Shout out to our guy.
Shout out, B, man. I appreciate you, my brother.
Was that the first episode, Spike? Ice Cube, you had the shirt on. You was going to war.
Yeah, because I knew the energy they was gonna have for Cube, and I wanted to go in there and defend him behind that, man. So I don't know if that was the first episode, but that was.
Oh, that might have been the first time he heard you. My bad.
Yeah, that was the beginning of my tenure on the show. Yeah,
okay,
that definitely was. Yeah, so
yeah, man. Shout out to man. That was a good time. We got a few Spotify comments I want to check out as well. So for chapter 22, checking in, Lewis wrote in and said, "Good combo as always." LOL. I don't know. Y'all don't have to be having the Trap Lord Ross vids on the YouTube. Stop giving that British bum views. Fair point. We were talking about the Atlanta doc, and I was talking about the King Von doc and all that. And he's that Trap Lord.
Oh, I would say Trap Lord Ross didn't do the Atlanta stuff.
Yeah,
he
but
just
I think I talked about the King. Yeah. Like, stop giving that dude views. Fair enough.
That's fair.
Chapter 24 featuring Portia, Adult Friendships. I Am Music 86 commented, been waiting on this one with the laughing emojis. Always a good time when Portia's on the show. Chaz, you know Portia?
Huh?
I can't remember if y'all ever kicked it or hung, or do you?
I know Portia. Shit, she was on a couple episodes of
Oh shit, she was with the Savages. Damn, I'm tripping. Yeah, I knew that was a sketchy question when I asked because I'm like, Chaz got to know Portia.
Yeah.
I almost felt bad for asking you. Like, hold on, yeah, that's right. She has been on the pod, the old pod. I hope them episodes are burnt and destroyed.
Nick know Portia. Nick know Portia. Did I tell you that? Nick know Portia. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I think they brothers. He cool with her brother or something like that.
Oh shit, man! Shout out to Portia, man.
Small world, man.
Small world.
She called.
Also, what's up?
I made a surprise appearance on the frequency. She had to call me. You know, they dropped their women's rap list.
Yeah.
She just out of Portia personality so dope. She hit me out of the blue, like middle of the day. She's like, bro, have you ever heard a Roxanne Shante song? First, she said, how old are you? How long you been listening to rap? Can you name one Roxanne Shante song?
Yeah, she be dead ass serious too.
Dead ass, and I've never heard a Roxanne Shante song. I had to go listen to her when I hung up with her.
So I've heard of her, but I can't.
I know who she is. I don't know one song, bro.
Yeah,
but then I went and listened to it. It's that like, it's that Sugar Hill shit. Like I was like, oh nah, this definitely like I know why I've never heard this. No disrespect to her, but that was before our generation of hip hop.
Yeah. I think me and you were around the same age, right, Spike?
Yeah.
Yeah, 53.
Yeah, 53. This nigga.
That's the one thing. That's one of my favorite things about Portia, man. Her opinion. I'm not even gonna say she's gonna force it on you, but if it's the conversation gets brought up and you ask her, she is not gonna hold back what she feels about something. She ain't gonna do nothing to make you feel comfortable. And if this is what I feel, that's what it is.
I don't give a fuck.
Here we go from there, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate her take on movies, man. We share the same favorite movie.
What's your favorite movie?
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Pulp Fiction is I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's definitely up there. So it is the movie that changed the way I looked at movies.
Made.
Yeah,
my
you know
favorite.
What I mean?
If we talking about movies from Dude Tarantino, I think Jackie Brown is underrated. It's my favorite out of his whole little clip.
Mad underrated. True Romance is a good one.
Is it?
Even though he didn't direct it, he wrote it.
I kind of feel like no matter who you talk to, if you rate his movies, it's in the top, probably the top 5 to 3 to 5.
But that's the thing. It should be top 3 to 2.
It's a conversation to be had at one. Like personally, I like it better than Pulp Fiction, but I can understand why Pulp is rated higher than that.
So
it's better than Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
Now, Inglourious Basterds is good. Like, especially when you talk about first watch. That's one thing about Tarantino's movies. The first watches are always incredible.
Facts.
So I got it number 3 for me.
What's top 2? Inglourious and
Inglourious is 4.
What's 2?
2, hey man, it's Kill Bill, man.
Fair. Yeah, you would Kill Bill, nigga.
It's Kill Bill, man.
Yeah, that's fair.
I can see that.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's fair. Yeah, that would be 3.
Would you argue that though? If you had to argue it being the second best of his, would you argue that, or you just let it go?
Let me rephrase that. If we're talking my favorite, it's my second favorite.
We're gonna have to have a conversation about that too one day, like how to differentiate favorite from best.
Yeah,
sometimes that can be difficult, and with a lot of the stuff that we got coming up, man, that's gonna be a good conversation to kind of really discuss. I got 2 more comments on Spotify that I want to make sure from last week's episode with Ken. Goody Jenkins wrote in and said, "Great podcast. I've been listening to frames per second. Is the mic still on? Dead End Sports and Dead End Hip Hop for years, and always wanted to know the history behind it." And then also Cyborg 38. I like that Ken was on here. I'm from the same city. It's how I found Dead End Hip Hop and the Big Crit review with Wally Sparks with the N emoji after it, man. So shout out to both of them, man, for those comments. I was fascinated as well, just about the origin. So I'm glad we were able to provide that and kind of get Ken to reminisce. You know, there's moments where he was even looking like, man, I ain't thought about this in a long time. So it's always fun to hear somebody's origin, especially somebody successful and kind of, you know, when you're aspiring to do the same things and find your own path, just kind of the ups and downs. There was some work, there was some luck, there was some right place, right time. The one common denominator is I was ready for it when the moment came, and I worked my ass off to get where I'm at. So incredible story and conversation with him. Today,
and I was just gonna say to the bookworms, it wasn't aware. If you want to hear me talk about more than just what me and Rich give you our opinions on here at Another Week in the Books, film reviews, TV reviews, it's the mic still on. We cover pop culture, current events, and then in sports. So appreciate those guys for having me on those many different platforms and covering those many different things. So if y'all want to hear Spike Lee talk about something else, go over there and check me out.
No doubt, man. My nigga, that nigga, man, he just referred to himself in the third person. That's what I'm talking. That's what I'm talking about, Spike Lee. That's what I'm talking about, my nigga. Get that shit off, bro. All right, couple of topics before we get into our main thing, man. Because and I'll roll it over to you, Chaz, when we get there, because I know you asked to be on this conversation, and I teased it last week. But before we get there, there are a couple of things that we want to have some brief conversations about. Things that have been going on. Go ahead, Spike.
I got a quick one before we get into the ones that we
discussed. Yeah. Let's do it.
Because I said we was talking about portion. This made me think of it. So there was a picture floating around on X. It was a picture floating around on X, man, and it was like, I'm just gonna use the number 16. I think it was like 16 black dudes on the similar to the Odell Beckham picture. They was on the front of the boat. And it was a little tussle between the straight man and the gay, because I think I don't know, so y'all don't quote me, but I think everybody in the picture was gay.
Yes, they were. Think there was gay men. They were gay men.
Gotcha. Now when they posted that picture, there was a back and forth between the gays and the straights on Twitter. They're like, well, straight men could never get together and do this and go enjoy themselves. And I think they was in Dominican Republic or Tulum or some shit like that. And one dude commented, I believe he was gay, was like, well, straight men don't have friends that can rent boats that can provide that type of setting. And I was like, bro, to be honest with you, there's two things. One, most straight men that are affluent enough to be able to go spend, like, we finna rent a yacht and do this and all that, they girls probably not gonna let them go. Like, that's not like that ain't gonna be in the car. You telling your chick, oh, I'm gonna go on a guy trip with 16 other dudes, and we just, we out, we just finna just go kick it. Like that one, that's why it's not gonna happen. And two, I told you this, Rich, bro, I have no desire to go anywhere with 16 niggas. Like, that's not in my repertoire no more, bro. Like, max maybe 5 or 6, but like, I have no desire to go anywhere with a group of 16 niggas. I just didn't like how the narrative was being painted. They were trying to act like straight black men aren't able to do those things because most of they have friends that ain't, I seen, like, ain't graduated college, don't have the right job. Like, it's groups of black men that are successful that can do that. They just don't want to. Like, it's no desire to do that.
Yeah, that's so.
And I throw that to y'all for the question being, would y'all go on a men's trip with like you and 16 of your homeboys?
No, not in no way. Not in no way they were. I'm not trying to be funny, but a lot of it is what you just said, right? It's more so about the desire. But honestly, I didn't get into the conversation. I didn't really see the back and forth to see if there was any reason or explanation from the person that posed that and pretty much said, hey, you have people that go to college. It's we all know that's a ignorant statement, and it will be ignorant if it was the other way around too, because being straight or being gay doesn't dictate whether or not you can rent a boat and have people out on vacation. So that whole thing of is not even a conversation to be had. However, there were a lot of conversations, and I told you this, Spike, there were a lot of conversations to be had from those interactions between straight men and gay men. it's a very fascinating observation on how the communities interact or the homophobia behind it, but also just some of the stuff. I don't know if it's because we are older, right? Well, y'all niggas real older, but I'm 38. And I say that because I don't know how much of this is just trolling. Is this obviously I'm aware I can go on Twitter and that any kind of viral comment, there's gonna be people in the comments trolling. Like how much of this is trolling versus how much is this is you took the time out of your day to come here to just make a comment. It's almost like rent-free type of shit. I'm just from the ilk where if I see some shit that I don't have anything to say about, I'm just gonna keep scrolling. Like I don't know what it would take for me to really like make a comment that in the sense of it doesn't if it wasn't made for debate, because that photo wasn't posted for comments, right? Sometimes there are comments or questions and polls that are made for debate. Okay, I can understand that. But if it's some shit somebody posted, if I disagree with it, regardless of what it is, I'm not going to take my time out of my day to let people know I disagree with it. All right, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to keep it moving. So I do think it's fascinating how people, that whole thing, and just the conversations, because both sides have an interesting viewpoint on each other. And I think it would be this episode today, what we're going to talk about. The whole point of this is there's a lot of conversations we have as black men, that we don't have as black men, that I think if we can all just sit down to be honest and understand that we probably aren't going to agree on a lot of things, but sometimes it's good just to understand where somebody else is coming from. Maybe that's a start to something. And it would be fascinating to do it. I just don't know how to. It would go left too quick. So I don't know. Maybe that's something we work on one day.
We may try to find somebody. Yeah.
I know someone that I think would be great for the conversation. I just really don't even know what the conversation's had because the things that are going on aren't things that affect me. And what I mean is I'm not the one that's going to see a picture like that and make a comment under it just on some other shit. Like whatever, like keep it moving.
I think it all started with the confusion of were they gay?
That's how it was introduced to me. Before you said it to me, I saw it on Twitter with a chick.
Exactly. I saw a chick asking, like, before I zoomed in, the one I need to know, like, is it? And then the comments were reading, like, bruh, come on. Like, do you see some of the poses and stuff? And it was like, it's an obvious thing. And then that morphed into like, well, straight men couldn't do this and they don't have friend groups like this and things of that nature.
Yeah, that shit's silly.
That's silly. I don't really know what they mean by that. Like,
they say you broke, nigga. That's what they mean.
Well,
that was the implication.
Well, I've been on several fellas trips, but I will say this: 16, nah.
It might have been more than that too.
But the 16, the number of people is just when you're trying to find housing. When you're going out the country and you're trying to find housing, it gets a little hard to do.
The logistics of it.
Yeah, the logistics. That's the main.
Now let me ask you this real quick. Since you said that, would you go in a group with 16 people? Not 16 men, but 16 people. Would you go on a?
My max is 6.
Okay, couples, so it's not. It's
two other couples is my max because then you got to start worrying about too many different personalities and people want to do stuff and like you know how ladies get little snarky comments and shit. Like nah,
and everybody knows me. I don't even like going to birthday dinners like when it's over 6 people. Like I don't even like that. Like for real, I just don't. I have no desire to be at this big ass table with everybody. You got to scream down at the other end just to see what's going on or get up. Like, I'm cool. I'd rather go kick it. We can play some cards. You know what I'm saying? Do something like that. But that shit don't move me. So that's interesting.
Chaz, when you went on the guys trip, were you in a relationship?
Yeah.
What was the conversation like when you were telling her you were going?
Where you want to go?
Where'd y'all go?
No, that's what I would ask her. Where do you want to go? So if I'm going on a trip, I would ask her where do you want to go? Who do you want to go with? Do you want to go with somebody? Do you want, you know what I'm saying? Do you want to go on a girls trip?
Because I'm gonna do this.
Right.
Yeah, this is happening.
Yeah, this is happening. So
do what you gotta do to accommodate for yourself.
Yeah.
Make yourself happy.
Yeah.
Going on this trip.
Yeah. You know.
I would never date a chick that thought I couldn't go on a guy's trip. I don't give a fuck if it's because you don't like the friends that don't trust me, but I would never date a chick that said, I don't think you should go on a guy's trip.
Nah,
that's
so funny thing. You might not have that, but you could run into the I'm coming to chick. Which is
with
even
me and
worse.
all my homies.
Which is even worse. What do you mean?
That's the worst shit ever. That's the worst shit ever.
So,
I'm trying to think.
That's almost unacceptable.
Yeah.
That's the worst shit ever, man. But yeah, that's a whole. That whole thing opens up a fact. There was a photo like 3 or 4 years ago where I saw the same thing. Like niggas was having a picnic, and it was just niggas was having a picnic in the park, and they were clearly gay men, gay black
obviously.
I'm not see. All right, hold on. Let's talk about this. No. There's something from the earlier. You just sparked my memory. Let's talk about this. Damn it, what
don't have picnics with straight with other straight men. They just don't do that.
All right, so that's what. All right, so
and it ain't nothing wrong with it. It's not nothing I'm gonna do.
Yes, yeah, I feel you. I think that's the best way to say it. It's a personal preference thing. I don't have any interest. If one of y'all niggas, man, one of my best friends hit me up.
If y'all niggas called me and said, let's have a picnic,
I'd be like, nah, my nigga, like that's just not something I'm interested in. But I'm not gonna. I don't want to clown somebody that does it, but it is gonna be like, that's all right.
I'm not doing it. And you ain't even got to use picnic. You can say, let's go eat food in the park. And I'm still gonna be like, nah, I'm good, bro. I'm sorry.
Question. And the reason I asked you that 16 people question, Chaz, because 16 women went on a girls' trip. Nobody would really bat an eye. 16 gay men go on a guy's trip. Yeah, people have comments, but nobody is just like we just talked about. It's almost like expected. Like, well, that's kind of that's what they doing. Like, it's cool. Like, that's what they do. 16 straight men go on a guy's trip, then it's going to turn into something else. I have no desire, like I said earlier, to do that. But why do y'all think that is? 16 men posted a picture of them, unless they doing unless it's got to be like a bachelor party or.
So I was gonna say that
real fly shit. They have to. Here's my thing. Without any context, it's almost like they would have to. I don't know. Go ahead, Chaz. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the only way it's acceptable in most people's minds is gonna be bachelor party, but 16 people. Like when you ask me if I would do 16 people, like a trip for 16 people, I probably wouldn't unless it's family. If it's family, I can do that. But 16 having 16 just men all on the same page, yeah, that's too much, man. That's too much because you're gonna get some that don't want to do some of the activities, like what I'm saying. When I'm planning a bachelor party, so I'm trying to think of things that we should do. What I'm saying, ATVing, what I'm saying, hit a couple clubs, maybe a casino, what I'm saying, beach party here, what I'm saying, things of that nature. When you out of the country, it's totally different. It's a totally different way of going about things.
Facts.
When you're in the country, it's get as you know what I'm saying, try to get as much as you can in that short amount of time.
Yeah, you already know you're gonna have a speech with me.
Yeah,
you brought up a good point. Family, I'll do it. I misspoke. I would. 16 people family, that makes sense.
But Chaz, you're gonna have a speech with me already in July. Because I'll be quick to say, all right, I'll holler at y'all niggas later. Like I'm gonna get at y'all niggas when I see. I'll pop up at this event. I'm not spending all day with y'all niggas. Like what? Like what? Ain't no itinerary, nigga. I'll catch y'all niggas when I catch y'all.
Nah. I mean, there's certain things that he wants to do. So you know what I'm saying that. But nigga, you gonna get on the ATV, nigga.
Yeah, the ATV, the certain events. If you say ATVs at 4, I bet I'll come to the ATVs at 4. But Niggas say they going to casino. All right, I'm gonna go get something to eat. I'll let y'all niggas later. I'm going back to the room.
You know.
Yeah, you give me an itinerary, I'm gonna laugh at you.
Nah, I'm saying casino to be politically correct, brother.
No, I got it. Yeah, this ain't no politically correct podcast.
But that's a really good point, though. Both of y'all said like 16 men, unless it's a bachelor party, like 16 straight men really ain't. We're not finna plan. Like, bro, you're not finna find 16 niggas that want to do that. Like, no, bro, I'm not. I'm not. Like, nigga hit you up, be like, man, we got boys trip, me, such. The more names you keep naming, the less I'm interested. Like when a motherfucker hit you up and even present the idea, and they like such and such going, such and such. I'm like, oh no, I'm not going. I ain't doing that.
When it get past 8, that's when it get kind of like, man,
I'm not doing it. So it don't make sense as a grown man to do. That's one of the main things. Like the post didn't irk me, but it made me understand how little people understand like us black men, like straight black men, like the perceptions that women may have, or even the gay men may have about us. It ain't even about that we can't do it. It's I don't want to do that. I ain't trying to spend my free time from working hard and making money with 16 niggas. Like I'm not doing that, bro. I'm just not.
And in all fairness, I know a lot of women that say the same thing. Like, I'm not doing all those girls trip with 16 women. It might be 3 at the max. It might be 4 at the max. So it's not even a man thing, in my opinion. I really think it's just the older you get, the less people you want to be around. Like, it's hard to find 16 people that you want to be around at the same time. There's nothing about that unless we're celebrating something.
Facts. A wedding.
There's nothing about that. There's nothing about that sounds appealing. Like, just calling 16 motherfuckers on a Saturday and say, come through the crib, let's kick it. Like, no.
I'm very cautious about who I travel with anyway. I'd rather travel alone than like even travel with a group of people anyway. But traveling with motherfuckers are really like, it'll test your patience.
Oh yeah. Hey, listen, man. I've seen people get into fights. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I've seen altercations on trips. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So it's not uncommon. It's not uncommon,
man. Fair enough, man. Yeah, one day we might dive a little bit deeper into that conversation. One day, have a bookworm on or a co-author. I don't know. Who knows? Either way, a couple of other things that we want to discuss briefly. Wallo. We did not have a conversation about Wallo in his comments recently about black businesses. Chaz, are you familiar with what Wallo was saying in the social media realm as he was giving a motivational speech?
No.
Okay. If you're not familiar, I can go ahead and play it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Play it for the audience so everybody's aware.
Nobody gives a fuck about that. If you got a good business or you don't. All that shit, nobody want to hear that shit. That's the hustle. Support me because I got a bad business. Is your restaurant clean? Is the food good? Do you got consistent cooks? Is the material your shit good? Stop doing that. Oh, you support the white people? Nah, I support consistency, baby. Yeah. I'm talking about what color you is. I'm spending my money. That paper, I'm spending them deals where the fuck I want to spend it at. Whether it's Porsche, Ferrari, I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do while I'm here. But I'm going to tell you one thing, I ain't going to be finessed off some black shit. But one thing about it, 70% of you motherfuckers is not going to make it. I'm not no motherfucking fake-ass motivational speaker that talk this dumb shit. I'm the number one nigga in the country. You know why? Y'all seen me come out of the penitentiary. I make millions. I make millionaires, baby. You understand me? I come from the ghetto.
All right. Pretty much, Wallo said, hey, man, I'm not about to be finesse off that black shit. I don't care if you black-owned business. You're not about to tell me I got to support black if you are giving a bad product. Because a lot of the businesses, 70%, I believe is what he was saying, are going to fail. Just because you're black does not mean that I have to support you. Chaz, I'm going to throw the ball in your court. What were your thoughts on that and how you feel about this whole sentiment?
I mean, that's a rather ignorant point of view, but at the same time, I kind of understand where he's coming from. I don't feel like you should feel obligated to support anybody just because y'all are the same color. But at the same time, me personally, I'm more liable to give more chances to black businesses over anything. That's just the person I am, though. You could honestly fuck up all the damn time for real, and I'll still give you at least 3 tries. There's restaurants up here that, and you know how I am about fucking with my food.
Yeah, bro. You and Spike the complete opposites.
So,
in the sense of like this nigga, the same as far as being particular, but this nigga Chaz, man, got a certain way about everything, and it's just too much. It's too much.
Hey, listen, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I think that's why I'm such a good tipper.
Yeah, earn that shit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's why I'm such a good tipper. I tip above and beyond a lot of the time because I know how I want my shit and I want it a specific way, and I expect you to accommodate that. And when they do, I'm great. Or you know what I'm saying, I'll pass out like flyers for people. You know what I'm saying, I'll plug people. Like if I know you do good work, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna put people on to you. But you know, I do understand, you know what I'm saying, his point of view. Like, you know, you shouldn't feel obligated to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because we're black. Nah, if you are standing on consistency, then shit, let them stand on consistency. But Wallo's an ignorant motherfucker, so it just is what it
Wallo
is.
ignorant?
Damn, wait, why you say that?
Yeah. See, because I watch him all the time. So I know, you know what I'm saying? That's he all the way.
Say some wild shit.
Yeah, he all the way, all the time. Like he says wild shit
That's
all
funny.
the time. So, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, it is what it is.
So that's interesting because I don't watch.
I watch the clips.
Some niggas is that's too much, man. All due respect, I can be a fan of them in clips in certain scenarios, but like the same way with Drink Champs, man, I'm like 3 hours of Nori is just a lot. You know what I mean? Like I'd much rather him be interviewed than interviewing someone, and that's the same with Gilly. Gilly's the same way for me. Like his personality is just. I'm not a big fan of extra, and I feel like that's all he is extra. And I know that's him, and he's passionate. Same with Wallo. Wallo's more passionate than anything, but it's just too much. And it's funny because had you not said that, Wallo kind of presents it in the clips with the motivational stuff. Like he is on top of things. Like I came from prison, I made millions. Like he's giving out game. You saying like, nah, that nigga just fooling y'all.
I ain't gonna say he just fooling, but he is getting over. There's a level of getting over. There is a level of getting over, and he's achieved it. So, hey, much props to him. Much props to him, honestly. But
fair enough. Spike Lou, what you got to say about it?
I think his style of motivational speaking is in right now. People want you to be real. I don't like what he said, and I get into that, but I don't blame him because I feel like he wouldn't say this if he knew cameras was on him. I feel like this was like a camera phone thing. Somebody was recording him. He didn't realize it, and they put this out. This clip just so happened to go viral because it does to me sound very like not very, but it sounds kind of anti-black business. It's like I'm not just shopping with you because you're black. You're like, yeah, we know that. Like that's a given. None of us really that are astute business people or astute even consumers are gonna be like, oh, I got a black business. Oh, you like, yeah, I'm gonna spend money with you. However, Chad said this, and I've heard this in the conversation about this. I am going to give the black business a shot, preferably like because you're a black business. Like I do that. I think we all do that, even if it's conscious or self-conscious. Like it's a black person and it may not even be nothing you want, but it's like, okay, I see this. I know what we got to go through. I see you out here hustling, grinding, whatever it may be. I'm going to support you. I'm going to repost your shit on IG. I'm going to pull up. I'm going to spend. I'm going to tip well, like Chad said, make sure your people are taken care of. I'm going to do that. And yes, I will do it because you're black. And I ain't going to like, and two, I'm not going to keep coming here if I get bad service or have bad food. But if it is good and you are black, that's going to be a reason that I keep coming around. So I don't like that he pointed it out that or tried to paint it like that's a scam. Like people do try to use that as, oh, I'm black, you should fuck with me, but bro, that don't register with me. Like, nigga, I know how to spend my money. Like, I like that because I'm black shit. You pitching it that way, I don't really give a fuck. I already made the decision in my head. Like, if you got a black business, I see this review online and I know they black, or somebody told me about it and I know they black, I'm gonna go fuck with it because they're black. Like it does work that way. And I think he's trying to explain it in a way like it don't work like that. And I don't think that's being truthful. I don't think that's being honest. And I don't think he would have said that if he was on an interview. Like if that was him talking directly to someone, it's like, do you give businesses chances just because they're black people? Yes, nigga, I do. Everybody do that shit. Every race does it. It ain't just us as black people. It's not a scam. Like he tried to paint it like it's a scam. And there are niggas out there that try to do that shit. But these niggas are not the niggas we talking about. We talking about niggas that got businesses for real, that got good products or products that you would try, and they black. Like, yes, nigga, I'm fucking with you because you're black. Like the niggas that come to you, man, about support black business, like that ain't even a blip on the radar, nigga. I don't even consider them niggas businesses if that's they leading pitch. You got a good product, like you do something that I need, and you black, yeah, I'm fucking with you. Like, I don't even understand why he would get up there and say that, but again, I guess he was trying to call himself trying to keep it real.
Yeah, I agree with everything both of you said, mainly in the sense it was weird because where did that come from? You could say that same statement about any business and any whoever owns it, like any background, ethnicity, whatever the case is. Like, I don't have to support your business just because, all right, I'm a Bengals fan. I don't have to go to every Bengals bar because I'm a Bengals fan. Right. I would choose to, right? And we talked about layers, man. Spike and myself talked about it on one episode, man. There's some shit that is not negotiable. You know what I mean? For me, supporting black business is not negotiable. I'm going to do that every time, just off GP. And what I'm not going to do either, just like I said earlier in this episode, if I don't like something, I don't have to go on Yelp or on Google reviews or the social media and tell the world how terrible your product is. Okay, then I tried it. I didn't like it. That's cool. I'm going to move on to the next thing, especially because people get a kick, in my opinion. Is that the right way to say that?
You were going down the right path. The tension about that. We talked about that when David was on here. People like shitting on stuff now.
Yeah, the attention is it's almost like it's contagious. Like if I get the chance to talk about how terrible, it's almost like the same cousin that keep doing the shit. You got that cousin that keep going to jail.
Rage.
And nobody's really surprised anymore, but you are still gonna make that comment like, you hear such and such in jail again. It's like the same thing. Like we know this, right? So if we know a black business is struggling or whatever, I don't have to keep going in or saying this is trash. Now, if they treat you poorly, if there's terrible service, if they do something ethically, morally, that should stop you from supporting their business, and that's one thing. I can get that. Like I walked in, it took an hour, and even then, I'm not even gonna say nothing. Like I'm gonna let people find out on their own because I don't want to do anything to expedite a business closing, black owned, especially not. But I think it's just weird to say I ain't going to be finessed off some black shit. You should be proud, especially in your position.
And it's not
give some black businesses a look, and it's giving them an opportunity. Listen, I'm about to put you on, right? If I had 1 million followers and I knew a black owned business, I'm about to put everybody on. It's up to you at that point to make people stay or be the reason why they leave.
Right.
I do agree. You either got a good product or you don't. But it's not. I'm not about to down it because you black. Like, come on, y'all black need to get. Nah, man. What?
I think that's selfish too. To your point, Rich. Like, my experience was my experience. I'm not going to Yelp. I'm not coming on none of these podcasts and talking down about your product. In all actuality, I hope you have a better experience than I had if I had a bad one. Like, I ain't trying to influence you in no type of way to go away from this person's business, especially if they black. Like maybe they was having a bad day, maybe they was short-staffed. Like it's hard to run a business, nigga. So I ain't gonna be the nigga that's leaving 1-star reviews or like I'm not doing that. And I think that's one of the conversations that we had, and me and David has still been talking about it since he came on the show, Rich. It's like people go out of their way. parents, of course, own a restaurant. And he was talking about some of the comments that he was reading when somebody was like, "Oh man, this restaurant is the best meat and three in Nashville," and people going out of their way be like, "Oh, I don't eat there. I ain't ate there in such and such years." Like they use this type of food. Like why?
Yeah, why?
My nigga, if somebody say they enjoy it, let them enjoy it. It's cool. You ain't gotta jump in the comments and be like, "Oh, well, I don't fuck with that. I don't fuck. How you fuck with that?" Like, nigga, I would prefer you have your own experience. I don't let me influence your experience. And I think that's what Wallo was doing there. Like, no one's trying to gas you up, bro. It's not a scam to lead with this is a black business. We should be able to relate to this. And it's cool. You don't relate to me on this. That's fine. Still try my product. Tell me what you think. If you don't like it, cool. Keep it moving. If you do, then tell people about it and continue to support me and let motherfuckers know that I'm black. And people going to fuck with me because of that. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. And he was trying to paint it like it was.
Yeah, and maybe he meant, and I don't know if Wallo's come out with any comments since to clarify. I don't think he doesn't strike me as the type that would. He's like much a I said what I said type of person. Maybe he meant people that lead with the hey, my black. Before you even have a chance to learn about the business, they're saying I'm black, you should support me. I do understand the entitlement aspect of it. Maybe if it's presented that way, but even then, it ain't even about you. And nigga, this is a black person trying to do something. I'm about to help. And I might give them some game on some. Listen, if you want to go a little bit further, here's how you should approach this whole thing. Lead with your product. What do you do well? Like, tell me what you're good at. Tell me what I should be trying so I can start with your best foot forward. And then it's more about your product. So then you being black is just a bonus. That's going to add the extra sauce on it.
That's the great point, Rich. Like he could have said it in a better way, like you just said it. Like coming up to me, like leading with, "Hey, I'm black, man, support." Like, nah, bro, tell me about what you're doing, what you got going on, what's the product, what you're selling, how can I use it? That's fine. And yeah, some people do kind of try to lean into that, "Hey, man, support black business." But again, we're not dumb consumers, bro. Like, that's not gonna be the selling point. Like, if you're a nigga like me or a nigga like Chaz or a nigga like Rich, you're gonna ask another question like that I'm black shit that they leading with, like, that don't even register to me. I don't even give a fuck that you saying that right now.
I see that, my nigga.
I know you black. Nigga, tell me about what this do. Like, I'm not even letting that register to me to where I can even comment on it and be like, that's a scam. Like, nah, nigga, that's great that you black. That's the reason that I let you come up in my personal space anyway, my nigga, to tell me about what you selling. So, like, that ain't even nothing to be pissed off about. Like, I don't care if a nigga lead with that. I'm too astute of a consumer to be like, "Oh, well, he's black, man. Here go my money." Like, no, nigga. Come on.
I wonder how many people are actually coming up to him using that as it is a scam, though.
Probably
to make him,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's probably like hundreds of people DMing him and like, "Oh, plug my product, do this, do that." You know what I'm saying? And it could be scams. So maybe that's what's influencing his mindset on that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I said,
that's a him thing.
So
yeah, like one of my biggest things that I always say, man, stop presenting your opinions as facts. That I hate that shit. Like, let your opinion be your opinion, stand on your opinion, but don't present it like a fact. You know what I mean? Like, that's not factual, my nigga. That's how you feel. And don't try to influence other people's feelings. I've used the example that's like if I was telling Chaz, "Hey man, this nigga Spike that I recorded, man, this nigga different type of nigga, nah, man, fuck him, blah 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 blah. He ain't shit, like he's shady." And then Chaz meets Spike and like, "Hey man, Spike cool as fuck. What the fuck you got going on?" You know what I mean? You can't. Your experience with somebody is your experience. If I don't like a restaurant, I don't like a restaurant. I'm gonna let you find out for yourself. And if you don't like it, I'm gonna look at you and say,
"That's on you."
Told you, my nigga. Or if you like it, I said, "Shit, what you try? Maybe I need to go back up there and try something different."
I'm glad you enjoyed it, my nigga. Give me some advice on what I should do next time I go. So yeah,
fair, man. Let's go ahead and get into the main topic, man. That was a good conversation about black-owned, man. Support black-owned business, and even if you don't trash them. I think we need space to have real conversations, but we can still have those conversations amongst ourselves. With that being said, man, teased this last week. Episode is titled "Confronting Grief," Chapter 26. symbolic. I was born on the 26th. This episode was inspired by my pops. This upcoming Saturday, so tomorrow, if you're listening to this on Friday, will be the 5-year anniversary of my pops passing. And, 5 is a milestone in a sense, and there's a lot of feelings that go into grief. We're big Wire fans here. As you mentioned, we mentioned earlier in the conversation, and if you listen to us, we quote it often. One of my favorite quotes in The Wire is from Bubbles. Bubbles has a quote where he says, "Ain't nothing wrong with holding on to grief as long as you make room for other things too." And that's something that I've learned in these 5 years. It takes a little while to kind of make room for other things because, the first 1 or 2. But what it really just happened was every time around this year, every time around April, I say, and, as it was still fresh, it would happen sooner. I remember year 1, it might have been like from January to April. But every year around this time, it's like your body or your brain knows and remembers that something traumatic happened to you at this time of the year. I don't even know if it knows specifically what it is, but there's this feeling that comes over me, and it's hard to even explain because it's not a specific thing, right? It's not like I'm sitting there thinking about my dad and get sad about it. It's just literally you just wake up one morning and your body's just like, oh shit, this is it. Like this is that moment of I first recognized it as depression the year, probably a couple months after my pops had passed. Before I even get into that, I do want to kind of ask you, Chaz, because, well, let me finish my thought, and then I'll pass it over to you. 2 months after my dad passed, it was a shock for one. Like it's not like my dad was sick and I was expecting it. So there's the aspect of it, and then when you're the person that's in charge of everything, you don't really have time to sit with your feelings. Everybody's checking on you. You got service arrangements to make. You taking care of, personal effects, cleaning things out, everything, right? You're just on the move all the time. And then you find yourself just sleeping and being on the move, sleeping, being on the move, and trying to really process what's going on. And then after the service and things die down, you kind of get back to your own feelings. And I say about 2 months into it, I'm like, all right, this is the first time I'm really sitting with this. And I remember there was a moment at work, and I went from site to site. I was in the field at the time. So I remember there was a moment I was at work and I was opening up my laptop to try to process a thought, and I couldn't do it. Like literally could not type what I was thinking because my brain was too scrambled. And it was the first time I realized, like, yo, I'm depressed. And I don't think I ever in my life had acknowledged like depression or even thought about like that's what this is. Usually it's just, I'm in a funk or I got the blues or whatever it is, or whatever the case, however you want to describe it. But I was like, nah, I think this is the sign. This is it. I had never felt anything like that before, where I literally don't want to do anything. All I'm doing is sleeping and going to work. And I'm sleeping and I'm going to work. And I took some time for myself to kind of get better. Took a couple weeks off work, got some therapy work in just to start that process. And each year, it still gradually comes up. I remember like year 3 or 4, March was coming through, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't feel that feeling. Like it might be going, and then April coming and smack you in the mouth. And this year, right, I was good. And then we were recording like I Spy one week, everything was straight, and that weekend it just hit me. Like, damn, it's that time of the year. And it doesn't happen like during the holidays, it doesn't happen at his birthday. It's always this time. And part of why I wanted to have this conversation is just talk about the grief process, what that looks like, and what we should do more for each other. Things I've learned in the 5 years, and B, for me, this is a way to take what I'm going through and flip it on its head. Yesterday on Culture Garden, we did an episode of one of my dad's favorite movies. My dad would love film, right? So we did an episode of one of his favorite movies. It was therapeutic for me to talk about my dad's favorite movie. It's therapeutic for me to talk about my dad in general. Every time I brought my dad up, ever since last week when I started feeling down, like my spirits have been lifted. Like it feels good to keep the name alive and just kind of, rather than sit in sadness, like, nah, let's talk about it. And I wouldn't have been able to do that 2-3 years ago. And it was like, damn, I got something to look forward to this time of the year versus just dreading it as well. You know what I mean? And Chaz, you hit me up this morning and was like, hey, I don't know if y'all recorded the grief episode. If you haven't, I want to join you. And I know you can tell your own story, but I know you also lost your father. You and I have had discussed that as well. So, what made you just want to say, "Hey, I want to join this conversation"?
Well, when I was listening to the Culture Garden episode, and I heard you say that, then it just dawned on me, like, you know what? I wanted to talk about it. Number one, because you were one of the people that helped me get through my time. You know, me and my pops. Just a quick thing. Me and my pops was extremely close. Like to the point where it's, man, we, you know what I'm saying, it was almost like losing my brother and my pops and my best friend all in one. And it was I didn't see it coming. Like when he got sick, it was like, all right, you got sick. Come on, pops, you gonna beat this. You never really fully can grasp that Superman is gonna die. And I'm not saying like not everybody has different relationships with their pops, but when I was growing up, my pop was Superman. He was my hero. He was my idol. He was, you know what I'm saying, everything I, you know what I'm saying, strive to be, or I wanted to be. I wanted to be that and surpass it. You know what I'm saying? So I could continue to make him proud. And when I always just harp on the, you know what I'm saying, certain things and certain lessons and certain sayings that he had, you know what I'm saying, to help me get through my day. But I remember when he first, like, my mother called me and she was like, "Hey, you know, your pops he ain't doing too well. I don't feel like I'm getting better, but he's not." And he had caught COVID because my mom had caught COVID. So he wasn't gonna leave my mother. So that's how he ended up getting sick. Well, when she started getting better, he wasn't. So I was on my way to the house. Like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna get him some vitamins and stuff like that. Now I'm gonna go take him to the we're gonna take him up to the hospital and stuff like that. You know, so I call my best friend Sleep and I said, "Hey, Sleep, Pops is he ain't doing too well. I need you to run over to the house real quick if you closer than me, and you know what I'm saying, get him up so we can get him over to the hospital." And from that point on, we, you know what I'm saying, he was like, "All right, I got you." He was like, "Let me use the bathroom." All right, so he goes use the bathroom. Then, you know what I'm saying, he was like, my chest, you know what I'm saying, like I can't catch my breath. So we go give him his get his inhaler, and then we call the ambulance. You know what I'm saying, they come up. The ambulance is coming, and you know, they get him, you know what I'm saying, get him up, get him on the gurney and stuff like that. We roll him out. They won't let me in the ambulance. They say, "You got to meet us at the hospital." I remember telling my pops, like, "Hey, you know, everything gonna be cool." He grabbed my hand. I said, "I love you. I'll see you in a little bit." We get to the hospital. When we get to the hospital, we not even allowed in the back. They immediately, like, the chaplain comes and he says, "Hey, can you follow me over to this room right here?" And from that point on, that's when it just got bad. He was saying that he was unresponsive and some other things. They said they got him revived, but they're still working on him to make sure that he can, that he's gonna pull through and he's gonna be cool. He wasn't. After that, when he came back in, maybe 10 minutes later, that's when he said that they couldn't. There was nothing that he can do. He had lost it too. He had too much time with his brain and not having oxygen. So I sat there and I'm going through everything, like, just, you know what I'm saying, emotionally just distraught. Then I got to make the calls. And, you know, the hardest call in the world is calling my mother and telling her, "Hey, you need to come to the hospital." You know, then I got to call my brothers, my uncle, and then I call my youngest, I call my sisters, they're emotionally just all over the place. I called my youngest brother last, and I just remember him saying, "My daddy, is he gone?" And I lost it at that point. I'm breaking down on the phone, and I'm not really a big crier or anything like that. That's not really my thing, but there was nothing that I could do. I had to actually just say, like, everybody need to come up there. So we all get there. And it took, what I'm saying? Like from that point on, I was just like, it took like multiple days for me to really realize like I'm gonna call this phone and he gonna pick up. And then realize like, yo, that's not gonna happen. And then from there, they have to, have to uh plan the funeral and make all the arrangements and looking at, looking after everybody, all my younger siblings. And you realize that, being strong for everybody else, it comes at an expense, because who's going, like who's being strong for you? And when it got to a point where I remember, I'll never forget, I called you, Rich, and we talked about how we were saying like, yeah, when you told me you have your deepest condolences, and when I said that to you when your pops passed, and then now you're telling me this, and I'm thinking to myself like, damn, like I said that because I felt your pain when I talked to you. And when you said it to me, and I'm like, damn, like, and then you said something which actually stuck with me probably every day since you said that, which is I almost wish you didn't say it, but because it's kind of fucked up.
I know exactly what you're about to say too. Yeah. I know exactly what you're about to say because I always keep it a book.
Yeah, he was like, man, the most fucked up part about this is, man, you got to do it again. And I was like, shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and even as a kid, I've never wanted to see my mother go. Like, as close as me and my father were, I've never wanted to bury my mother. Like, I've always wanted to go before my mother. That's just in me. Like, I don't, in losing my pops, it was like losing my right arm. You know what I'm saying? And having to learn how to do everything again, even though he's taught me all these life lessons and he's prepared me to be and to go on through life without him, it still was like, you have to learn how to get this back, because nobody tells you like, yo, this is going to happen and this is how the way it's going to happen. And because nobody knows how you're going to be able to deal with your own grief. You know what I'm saying? Nobody, you know what I'm saying? They can tell you like, yeah, it's going to suck. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember Rich telling me, hey, nigga, make sure you feel everything. And I'm like, don't numb yourself to nothing. And those things, they stuck with me, but it still didn't stop the depression. It didn't stop me from like just being in bed, not being able to move. Like if to the point where it was like, nigga, if I wasn't using the bathroom, I didn't get up. There was days on days I didn't eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, which is not good because I'm already a diabetic. And stopped taking all my meds. I didn't do anything that I was supposed to do during this time. And and then you sit there and it's like, shit, man, like how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna get out of this? And then after that, it was like when I start like feeling like, all right, it's cool, I start getting up and going and stuff. And then boom, the rug falls from under you again. You know what I'm saying? Like it was so many different things, and I got into legal trouble, and there were so many different things that kind of snowballed into the first and the second year. Probably the worst, probably 2 years I've ever had since I've been on this earth. was from 2020 to the end of 2020 to probably 2023, probably around October of 2023. But now in getting out of this, like this is from a depression, from just everything that snowballed into it, and now being able to move and function and grow the way I am. I thank God for therapy. I thank God for my brothers. I thank God for my friends. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because that helped pull me out of that darkness, like for real. And we don't talk about this enough, about this, like, but at the same time, I'm dealing with I just lost a cousin 2 days ago. You know what I'm saying? And it's like him and my dad were close. And knowing that, you know what I'm saying, the only thing that really even helps me with that is the fact that knowing that how he was living now, he wasn't the one to live like this. That's the only thing that helps me out with that. You know what I'm saying? It's like he better off. And we tell ourselves that, you know what I'm saying? And this is where the faith comes in, because I don't know if either of you two are actually religious. But I am.
That's wild. That's wild. You've been my brother for years, and you don't know that I am religious, man. That's crazy.
No, I mean, not like, but have we ever prayed together? And that's crazy.
Fair. All right, fair.
You know what I'm saying? We've never prayed together, and not that, you know what I'm saying. But we lived together, and we never prayed together. That's crazy, huh?
Very, very, very good point.
Yeah. So
fair point.
And
stand corrected.
Yeah, it's like we go through things, and you need an anchor. You really need an anchor in this life. And I always say, like, I implore anybody, if you don't have an anchor, if you don't have that anchor to hold on to, then yeah, it's time to try Jesus. I mean, like that's the only thing I can say, like, because it was God's. Not only do I feel like it was God's plan for me to go through what I went through, but I feel like it was him letting me know that if you lose everything else or everything that you have, you still have me.
I want to pass it over to Spike real quick, but before I do, the thing I thought you were going to say that I told you was that this shit gonna suck.
Oh no,
like,
that
I was
too.
I was very upfront with you about that, just telling you, like, man, this is gonna be terrible. This is gonna be awful, man. There's nothing I can do or say to fix that, or I just want to prepare you for it because that's what you're gonna be going through. And it's funny because your pops was end of 2020, right? It's December 2020, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, and mine was April of 2020, so I was still in the thick of it. And it's funny because a lot of the things that I talked to you about was helping myself more than even you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm still processing and figuring things out. So saying something like that is a thought that I really had as you have 6 months to sit with this, was like, damn, I got to do this shit again one day. Like, and that shit's gonna suck. Like, you know what I mean? And it's I don't know how to explain these random thoughts that you start getting when you're grieving. And just all the, dare I say, guilt that we put on ourselves.
Oh yeah.
About are we who we're supposed to be? Because that was one of my biggest things, man, when I lost Pops was, man, I just felt like I left too many conversations on the table. I didn't take enough time. And like you said, Chaz, it's kind of you can learn from your lessons or you can commit them again. One of the things I'm enjoying the most right now is learning about my mom, learning about Angela. Not my mom. I'm learning about Angela and who she was and who she is, her aspirations and all that kind of stuff. And that's something that I wish I was more intentional about with my pops. Like, absolutely. One of the things that I'm like you, and I'm not saying this ain't no flex. I think crying is healthy. I wish I had the capacity to kind of like cry more. It's probably healthy for me if I did cry more, but that's probably a therapy conversation. But the one thing that does make me cry every single time is when I hear people tell stories about my pops. because my pops is just a dope ass man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like most sent me a voice note today and was just kind of like, man, I can tell your pops is a good man just by how you are, and that's one of the best compliments ever. But my pops was dope, man. I remember when I was in Baltimore for the birth of my niece, me and my moms were talking, because it was March and we was like, next month we were just talking about my dad, and my cousin had told me that my dad had a BMW, and this was before I was born. Like he had a cold BMW, and we just talking about pops and talking about him as the man. Because I asked my mom questions like, how was pops like when he was dating you, like all that kind of stuff, and just the type of person. Like my pops was one of them people. My mom would tell me like there were moments like your dad would give like my siblings money or look out for my siblings in a certain way, and I only found out because my siblings told me. Like he would come home and not say a word. Like he was one of them type people. And her talking about the BMW he had, like he had this BMW with the stripes. Like we literally couldn't go anywhere without somebody asking to buy the car, asking something. Like he turned heads everywhere he went with that, and it's cool hearing those type of stories versus like just seeing someone as dad, because it's more than just dad, right? It's husband, father, friend, brother,
yeah,
son. Like there's so many layers to this one person. You only experience one part of them. And that's one thing I think about, like, damn, I really wish I would have just chopped it up on some man-to-man shit, not father and son shit. That would have been super dope.
I've had several conversations with my father while he was alive on some friend to friend, and some, you know what I'm saying, some father to son, some like brothers. I've had those conversations, but when he passed, I've learned, like yourself, I've learned about my mother, and I even bought her. I bought her a journal called
"Story of My Life." We were just talking about this.
Yeah,
I just sent that to my mom this week. That's crazy that you said.
Yeah, no,
I bought it off
bought
Amazon for my mom this week. Yep.
Yeah, I bought her 2 of them, and you know what I'm saying, she's been telling me that she's been filling them out and stuff like that. And it's like, because she'll tell me stories, and I'm like, we never think like, damn, what was life before me?
Mm-hmm.
Like I have an older brother. They have 5 years that, you know what I'm saying, before I was even here. You know what I'm saying? So to learn about that is just like it's wild. You know what I'm saying? It kind of wows you, but it's a great thing.
That's always great stuff to hear too. I remember one of my favorite conversations with my dad. I didn't grow up with my dad like y'all. Like we have a close relationship. We talk, but it wasn't that when I was coming up. And now we talk about, like, we talk man to man, like just about what we've did, what he's did compared to what I've did. And he told me the story of when he first met my mom. Nigga, remember what she had on, like all of that shit. Like from day one, it was just so refreshing to hear, to go to the point that you guys were saying. It's like this whole world existed before I was here that I'm directly a part of, but I ain't had shit to do with. And I'm getting to hear people regurgitate that in a way that I'm not asking you as your son, really. Like what you said, Rich, I'm talking to you like man to man, like you was talking to me if you was at the bar, the barbershop. Like I don't want you to talk to me like you was, like, tell me how that shit felt like just as a man. And he was just explaining to me like, I remember the first time I met you, my nigga. The nigga, he knew what she was wearing, nigga.
Yeah,
like he named the color pants and shirt and whatever it may be. And I'm like, damn, that's crazy to hear, being that I don't even think I've seen my mom and dad in the same room together. Like I've never even had a conversation with my mom and dad together as like, this is my mom, this is my dad, I'm their son, we sitting here talking. Like she'll ask me about him, he'll ask me about her, but it's never been a situation where like all three of us are sitting here talking and you guys are my parents and I'm your son.
Let me ask you, did you ever strive for that at some point in your life, even when you were a kid? Were you ever like 9, 10, 11, maybe even a little bit older, saying like, hey, I would love to have dinner with both of you? Or did you ever have a major decision that you had to make where I need to talk to both of y'all at the same time, and try to set that up? Or was it just something you never had an interest in?
I'd be lying if I said I didn't have an interest in it. I told the story on Another Week in the Books, the first chapter, about the tattoo and why I don't have tattoos now. And to give it in brief, I think I was maybe 16, 17 years old, and I asked my mom, could I get a tattoo? And she was like, on some black woman shit, like calling that shit dad. Like knowing that me and him didn't really have a relationship, knowing that like this nigga, like, what the fuck do it matter what he gotta say? But me being 16 years old didn't process it that way as I'm processing as a 40-year-old man now, and actually calling him and asking him, and him being like, oh, shit, I don't, it's fine with me. And then her response to me calling him and asking me, like, I can't believe you did that. Like, that was a joke, nigga. Like, I'm here every day providing for you, nigga. Like, I'm telling you no, and you call this nigga who, like, it's a whole thing. And that's the reason I've never gotten a tattoo to this day, because of how she responded to that and how I processed it. But no, it wasn't, to answer your question, Richard, it wasn't never a goal for me to be like, I want to see y'all together. I want to all talk together. Like, even still being an adult and having a great relationship with both of them now, I really don't care if it's a conversation amongst us three. I just appreciate him being like, he's since he wasn't in my life coming up, he's a lot more free with me than my mom is. So he's able, like, we have conversations about stuff that, like, I was doing this and I was doing that, and this is how I went to jail, and this is how this happened. Like, all of these things that he went through in his life, he and I talk man to man, like you were saying. Me and my mom have a conversations like, yeah, that's my mama, bro. Like we talk like mama and son. Like, it's not, it don't get over to like, oh, well, this is just my homegirl. That never happens, because she raised me. Like, that's the person who's like been most influential to me in my life. And it's a gift and a curse for me, because one, I would love to have that relationship with her, but I can't do it, because she was the person that's been there for me all my life. Like, that's my mama. Let me I can't have a friend conversation with you. Like, just to be real quick before you ask, the last time I was in the city, when I was telling you that story about my homegirls and what we went over. So it was a little house party or whatever. And we were leaving a restaurant. I was leaving a restaurant with my family to go to that function. And my mom likes to hang out. Like she cool. My mom is young. She's 20 years older than me. And she was like, well, shit, I'm going with y'all. And I was like, nah, you can't go. Like, this ain't the type of party you gonna be able to go to, because we're gonna be smoking and shit. And even though she don't,
you can't be full of yourself with her there,
bruh. And she felt a type of way about it though, and that made me kind of sad though, because it's just, I hold her in such high regard. It's like, nah, I don't want you to come. My initial response wasn't, I didn't even think it was that bad, but again, I ain't really good at this shit. I was like, you want to go to this? Like, nah, like, this ain't we just did the family thing, the mom, and she was like, well, I'm trying to go hang out with y'all, because she's cool with her and my cousin are real cool. That's my first cousin, damn near like my sister, and we've been hanging out all life. She was going with me too. And it was time to cut the mom-son time and go, like, I'm gonna hang out with my friends, relax, smoke weed, do all this other shit that I don't really want my mom to see me doing. Not saying that she would judge me or anything is wrong with it. I just like, I'm not comfortable with that. And I could tell that kind of hurt her feelings.
And that's funny though, because I smoke weed. Obviously, my mom knows I smoke weed.
Yeah, my mom.
But I don't smoke weed in front of her because of that same thing. Like, I just don't. It's just not. I wasn't raised like that, and that's a lot to do with her.
I'm not that person,
like,
bro. Yeah, like, I'm not that person. Like, I'm not gonna just spark the blunt from my mom's, bro. Even though she know I smoke weed.
Even when you talk about just growing, like, I remember a time where I don't want to say I didn't want my mom to know, but it was something I just didn't want to have a discussion about. Now it's something that's an easy conversation. Like, yeah, you know I smoke. Like all of that.
Facts.
And she wouldn't say anything, because sometimes, and this goes to remembering your parents or people, even as adults, sometimes you feel small. You feel like the 11-year-old version of yourself when you talk to your parents. And I think about it like, hold on, like, I'm 38. Like, what the fuck? Like, if whatever I do, what are you gonna say about it? Like, you can't. All it is your opinion at this point. All it is your opinion. I can do whatever I want, but
facts.
When you are raised with incredible parenting or incredible village, you do have more thoughts behind how is this going to affect or impact that. Because a lot of my shit was, and this is something I think should be broken. I missed out on a lot of good conversations because I was more worried about this ain't the son you raised. I don't even want to present this to you. Point. When I could have just kept it a buck. And from their perspective, and I probably didn't realize this until my niece was born. My niece being born was the first time where I literally just entered this world brand new, and I'm looking at you and I just got you. No matter what. Like, I got you. That kind of love, that's different, right?
Yeah.
Now that I know what that feels like, now I know how my parents would feel. So anytime that I didn't come to them about something, I'm sure they were hurt because they probably thinking like, nigga, I got you.
I fuck with you.
I don't care what you do.
Yeah. And we don't
like,
understand
literally.
or process that. Exactly. And
like there's niggas that are in court for murder and their parents show up because that's not who they know. They don't know them as
that's
just
my
that.
son.
That's their kid. So yeah, go ahead, Spike.
I was just gonna say it's really interesting listening to you guys' story talk about your dad and that scenario that I just gave. If my dad had asked, "Oh, I'm going with you to where y'all going," I would have jumped at the fact to like, yeah, come on, let me show you what you missed out on and how cool of a fucking person that I am, and come chill with me and my homies and friends and see how I'm regarded, because you missed all that. I didn't know you when I was coming up, but it was different in with my mom in the sense of like, I want you to look at me in this certain way because I know how, what you just said, Rich, I know how you raised me, and how I'm gonna go act over here, that ain't really how you raised me, but that's a part of me too. And I just know it just brought that just rung in my head when you said that, from the sense of how you look at those different situations when you don't grow up with both of your parents in the household. Like, I still have this thing of where I want my mom to look at me like I did a great job in raising you.
Mm-hmm.
But with my dad, it's like, nigga, I need you to get to know me. So our conversations are much more freer. So I just thought that was interesting.
That's fascinating. Chaz, I always tell people those first couple of years almost don't feel real after suffering like a huge loss. And it's something that, I don't know, it's something specific to be said, because it's not like that was my first impactful loss. Like I'm actually, I guess I can say I'm blessed enough to, like, two of my grandparents, my mom's parents, they didn't pass into their 80s. My dad's mom, that was the first real like death. I had a cousin, a younger cousin who passed when he was young, like 2 or 3 years old, which was sad, but it didn't process it the same. You knew what happened, you're sad about it, you go to the service, but it's not the same type of thing. I was 18 when I lost my grandmother, and I never forget that's one of those, never forget where you were, that phone call when my pops told me it was St. Patrick's Day, my senior year of high school. My homegirl Mike D was about to take me home. Like, I remember all of that like it happened yesterday. And it makes me think about, now that my pops is no longer here, it makes me think about, damn, I remember going to the funeral and really like boo-hooing, because that was my first time. And like I told y'all, I'm not a big crier. Like I said, not saying that as a flex, just not, I'm not, but I was boo-hooing. It's the first significant loss, something permanent about that casket closing. And it's like, damn, this is crazy. And I remember me and school, after the service, me and school rolled back to my pop's crib, and my pops went inside. He was like, man, y'all got the truck. Like, he gave me the truck. And we went out to do whatever, man, just kind of made some moves. And I always think about now, like, damn, what the fuck was he going through in that crib? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wish, in hindsight, it's 2020, so there's nothing you really can do to that degree. But I wish I could have understood more, had a little bit more emotional intelligence. I know he needed that time, but it's knowing what I've went through in those first years, I can only imagine what he was really going through, but still like putting his best foot forward with me. Or times when maybe he was a little shorter than I was used to, not being able to understand, like, yo, he just lost his mom. And then even dissecting their relationship. You know, my grandmother had my dad when she was 16. Like, that, my story of my life book, like when my pop started filling it out, that's one of the things he said. Like, you know, it was interesting because sometimes I felt like my mom was my sister and not my mom. And he's the oldest of 5. So I didn't really have, like, he didn't really have a childhood in that sense because he was always looking out for those underneath him. He had like to really shed away and had a lot of responsibility from an early age to where it may be the same benefits that I had. And I'm blessed because, you know, a lot of men from that era, they don't know how to process all of that. You know, I probably seen my grandfather twice in my life. You know what I mean? My dad's dad, like they did not have a good relationship. I didn't grow up knowing him. And I think he took that whole pain, like, man, I'm going to do everything I can to be the best dad I can be. And I got the benefit of that. Like, you know, I had an incredible childhood. I think that's what makes it, you're not just mourning that, you mourning nostalgia. Like, you mourning certain moments that are very vivid, like, you know, that my dad did for me, man, and all the lessons he taught. I say all that to say, those first 2 years were crazy. And it's, Chaz, you know what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, like, it's a good thing that a lot of people won't know this exact feeling, because that means your parents are probably still with you. But man, there's a moment where you just feel like you're never gonna come out of this. Like, it's crazy to be here 5 years later and think that I survived that first couple years, because I really didn't think I was. It was the first time in my life, and I say this honestly, and trigger warning to anybody who's ever had. This isn't going there, but I just do want to say a trigger warning first. Any kind of idea of self-harm. I was never there, right? Never thought about leaving this earth or harming myself. But I will say it was the first time in my life as someone who always thought about death. I always kind of had that whole, I still got shit to live for. I gotta be around and accomplish things. I would hate for something tragic to happen. That was the first time in my life when I was like, you know what? If something happened, I really don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? So like I said, it's not at the end of I want to do something to myself or I want to end my life. It was never that. But it was like you let that guard down. You know what? If it does, fuck it. Because I already lost everything. It feels like you did. And you're just in a whole different space those first couple of years, and you gradually get out of it. Do you relate to that? And Absolutely. What did you do to help yourself get out of it? Like, what were your steps and process? Or did you, I know it looks different for everyone, but I'm just curious and asking you.
Absolutely. So I'll even take it a step further. I was thinking about the self-harm. I was looking at my gun on the dresser. And I was thinking, hey, if I grab this motherfucker, that's the end. So I'm staring at it just maybe for hours, just staring at that gun, thinking if I pick that motherfucker up, it's the end. I was ready to go. And then I was like, you know what? I need a sign. And I don't remember snapping out of it or going to sleep, but I remember waking up and I heard my dad's voice. And at this juncture, I wasn't working, I wasn't doing anything, I wasn't doing anything. I would just be in bed. I remember hearing his voice and said, hey son, go to work. And I just was like, okay. And then I just jumped into just every grind that I could do, any kind of hustle I could get into, I just got into from that point on. So I had set up certain things. I started running a Turo business. I was doing Amazon. I was doing Shipped. I was doing just a variety of different things. Just, you know what I'm saying? Because of the situation I was in, it was making it kind of hard for me to move like I needed to. Like,
question.
Yeah.
Looking at the gun and having those thoughts, is there a girlfriend, a niece, a nephew, a godchild? Is there anybody else that you're thinking about, not just your father being passed away and dealing with that grief? Is there someone that you're thinking about, like I have to be there for them, like your dad was there for you?
So it's a different kind of thought process, bro. It's you could think about them, but then you're also thinking like, I don't want them to see me like this. I don't want anybody to see me like this.
And when you say like this, meaning this is not the version of myself that I've curated, that I'm presenting to people, I know I'm fucked up.
Yeah. And can I just add one thing real quick before you go on, Chaz? Not only that, Spike, you literally don't see yourself coming out of that. Like you're in a space mentally where you just don't even see. That's why I said at the beginning, like looking at this fight, I never would have thought that I'd get out of that stretch. And that's why I was able to tell Spike, Chaz, like this shit's gonna suck. Like this shit's gonna be awful. It's gonna be one of the worst things and terrible feelings that you have. That's the only thing I wanted to prepare him for those type of moments. Because you're gonna have some crazy thoughts, things that you wouldn't normally think. And since you can't see the end, you can't see yourself coming out on the other side. I understand that if you don't have discipline or control over your thoughts, things can happen. And that's why I want to have this conversation too. And I'm going to give it back to you, Chaz, because you look at the suicide rate amongst Black men and just don't know how to communicate their feelings or really have somebody they can talk to or just feel there's nothing else or there's no light at the end of the tunnel. And it's got to be something to latch on if somebody's telling you, no, you will get through it. And thank God I got through it. You know what I mean? It's completely different. But I'm through that part. But you really don't think that you ever gonna be that same person again. It's like the darkest shit I've ever felt in my life. Shit, crazy. Go ahead, Chaz.
That year of first, it was the only thing that I can say that I can put into words. It's like I can't even really put it into words how I really want to, because it's like nothing you've ever felt. It's just the days are going by, but it doesn't feel like there's days. It just feels like a deep, dark despair. And you're just in there. Like there was literally, I can tell you, in the year of 2021, I probably have like no recollection of probably 4 to 5 months out that year. Like of nothing. I don't remember anything other than just waking up. Like I can't tell you anything about, but I can tell you some significant things that happened that were bad, because they were the things that compounded on to my depression. It wasn't just like losing, you know what I'm saying, losing pops. It was losing a high paying job, being betrayed by a friend, that, you know what I'm saying, legal troubles, and you know what I'm saying, like all of these things, you know what I'm saying, snowballing, just completely snowballing into this. And then it just got so big and so like, you know what I'm saying, it got to be just too much. So then when I'm at that moment where I'm just staring, you know, it took for God to send me my father's voice to snap out of it, to get back to right, because I wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't in a place where I could do it myself. I wasn't in a place where I felt like I was emotionally stable enough or mentally stable enough to be around people half the time. And people would call to check on me. And that was cool, because I could put on the brave face when I was on the phone. Oh yeah, no, you know, I'm good, my nigga. Everything's cool. As soon as I get off the phone.
Let me stop you real quick. I gotta ask you, otherwise I'm gonna get lost in it. What do you think that is that we can't or didn't want to express that pain? Like when somebody calling you, because you know the type of friends that we have as far as like people. And I know just the relationships you have in general, when somebody's close to you, it's a real life family situation. Why did you feel that you couldn't just be like, nah, I'm fucked up? And do you feel like you can do that today versus back then?
Yeah, I feel like I can do that today. But back then, I think what it was is I didn't want to let anybody down or I didn't want to. I wasn't ready for people to see how fucked up I was. You know what I'm saying?
Like that makes perfect sense.
You know, I know you know exactly what I'm feeling or what I'm trying to say, because it was something that was I was not prepared. It's one thing when you have, like, when my grandfather passed, he was battling cancer, and although it was a battle, I could prepare in my mind that at some point in time he's got to go, but he's been battling this. He's been winning this, or sometimes he'll have wins, sometimes he'll have losses during this battle, but I'm gonna be able to process it a little more. With my pops, it wasn't like that. It was, you know, he caught COVID, and then he was sick for a week, and then there's, you know what I'm saying, there it went. Like, it was like, wait a minute, hold on, how did you pass? Like, there's so many. I watched my pops literally fall off a roof when I was a kid and keep working. like fall off a roof, roll over. I asked him, like, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yeah, I'm fine. That shit hurt a little bit, but I'll be all right." And keep working a whole fucking day. Not no. I'm talking about a whole fucking day. You know what I'm saying? Because the job had to get done. You know what I'm saying? You see these things that, you know what I'm saying? So you kind of think like, yeah, this is Superman. Like, my pops is Superman. He can do anything. True. And then when you finally get to that point, when you come to the realization that, nah, he's just a man, and yeah, he's got to go, and he's passed, and it's like, what the fuck happened? Like, the illusion is gone. So when that illusion is gone, if you're not prepared for it, you know, it could fuck up your whole world. And you get to a point where you're trying to get back some semblance of yourself, and it just doesn't happen. It's just not there. There's nothing to grasp to. And then that's where you need your anchor. That's where you need God.
Yeah, man. So go ahead, Spike.
I was just gonna say that was a good point. I can't relate to the father's aspect in what y'all saying. I lost my grandmother and I lost my best friend. Those are the two that I constantly find myself regurgitating the thoughts of, damn, I wish it was different. Because my grandma was one of my favorite people. Like, I would call and talk to her every day. Well, excuse me, every weekend, as far as what's been going on in your week. She was the first person that instilled in me, like, no, you're a smart person. Like, every time something came up with her, like TV, oh, I have a smart grandson, you can come fix this. Like, come over to my house and come fix this. Like, that was the person that gave me confidence, in the sense of, like, no, you're smart. You can do the thing. And then I lost my best friend to heart disease when he was maybe 20 years old. And one of the things that the pastor said at his funeral was, like, he had the heart of a 76-year-old man. And I knew him, and I knew how he used to party and get down. And he never brought that into what we did, like how we was living life. He just, we called, his nickname was Party Guy. Like, it wasn't, I'm dealing with this as the doctor, I have to figure this out. It was like, I'm going to the max. If something happens because of this, then it happens. Those are the two, again, like, you two have lost your father, and I haven't had that experience, but I have had the experience of people that are close to me and that meant so much to me and that have shaped my world, and they gone. I understand what you guys mean, in the sense of, like, damn, I think I think about my grandma every day.
Yeah, same.
I think about
Pops every single day.
I know y'all. I know y'all. And that's the only reason I'm telling this story, because I know y'all think about them still every day. Even my friend, my best friend that I lost, like Dante, like, I still think about how he would respond to the shit that I'm doing to this day. Like it's still a thing because, and again, it goes to what we're talking about with grief. It's not it's not one way to deal with it. It hits you in waves. It hits you in like you will be sitting there doing like what Chaz said. Like I'm sitting at work some days. I'm like, damn, like I miss having those conversations that I would have with my grandma every Saturday morning. There's nothing that can compensate for that. I know she's gone. I know that thing is not there anymore, but still, it's in the back of my mind. Like with everything that you got going on, I still miss this. How do you address that? How do you deal with that? And I think you two brothers have done a great job in talking about your fathers and saying that, like, it made those feelings come up with me as far as one of my best friends that I've lost, my grandmother that I've lost. I haven't lost my father. I haven't lost any one of my parents, thankfully. But when those times do come, it's like, damn, like, how do you process that on a day-to-day basis, especially with what age bracket we in now? Regardless how young you try to say you are, Rich, you still in that age bracket. You still in the age bracket when somebody hits you up and you be like, hey, such and such died. You like, damn, what?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, man. I think just real quick, because I want to get this one wrapped up because we are having a good conversation. I always like to leave with like solutions. And in this situation, well, before I even get there, in our final thoughts, 866-903-3787. Once again, that phone number is 866-903-3787. That is a mental health hotline for grief and loss. If anybody feels like they need to talk to someone and they don't have that anchor, as Chaz had mentioned, that is the phone number you can reach out to them. Once again, 866-903-3787, or you can Google any local services in your area. Also, dial 988 on your phone if you have any thoughts of self-harm or suicide. 988. There are people that will listen to you and hopefully help you through if that time or that moment ever comes. Please utilize those numbers, seek help, talk to someone before making that decision. With that being said, I do want to just ask you fellas as we get out of here. We've all dealt with grief. We've all dealt with loss. We've all had that feeling of, man, how do I get to the other side? Well, now we're on the other side. And what do you do to stay there? Or do you feel like you discuss or having open and honest conversations about grief and loss with people who might be going through it? Or do you still feel like you're struggling with maintaining the new normal of what life is? And if you do feel like you're struggling, is there anything that you try to do to help yourself?
I still feel like I'm struggling with my bad, Chaz.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I still feel like I'm struggling with, because even at my age and talking about wills and things that have to happen when my mom dies, like that make my flesh crawl. Like she still feel like she young enough to like, well, why are we talking about this? And I want to still feel like she's young enough to be like, well, why are we talking like this? But I know that's not the reality and things that can happen. And it's just getting to this age and dealing with these, like, my grandparents used to get up every day and read the obituaries. I'm like, bro, why would y'all do that? But these were people that, like, they knew, like, this was stuff that was like, this is the thing for them now. And getting to that age where it's normal for a motherfucker to hit you up and be like, hey, you know, such and such died. That shit is terrifying to me.
Yeah.
I hate dealing with that. I try to scroll past that shit on the timeline when it's a celebrity. I don't even want to comment or have a conversation about, hey, you know, such and such, this popular celebrity. I don't want to talk about that, bro, because it just makes me feel like, damn, this shit is happening quicker at a more rapid pace than we thought it was going to happen, and I ain't ready for it. So I'm still in my feelings about it. Not to hold you.
No. I feel you. And just FYI, everybody, man, I think it is, especially in our community, we have to learn how to start talking about that type of stuff, just from a preparing and planning thing, man.
I
Nobody
didn't even know
wants
how to have
have
that conversation with my mom, Rich, because she was like, I ain't really got my will together. Like I was like, bro, you 60, like that, like I don't want to seem overzealous, but like that has to happen.
It's just planning. It just have to be, because you don't want to, you know, Spike myself just finished Sopranos, man. You don't want to be asking Uncle Junior where the money that you buried in the yard was. That should already be prepared, and it's not a conversation anyone wants to have. Insecure, the TV show, actually did a good job of it with Molly. Like Molly and her parents talking about, man, we have to talk. They didn't want to talk about it because, like you said, Spike, we still young, we still living. I understand that, and hopefully this shit don't kick into effect for another 30 years. But just in case. Like we all gotta face our we all gotta face our mortality at some point. You gotta prepare, because otherwise shit just goes array. Now people selling grandma's house when grandma didn't want her house sold. It's just so much stuff that didn't happen because nobody had the conversation beforehand. But I do understand Spike 100%. Kind of goes back to what I said with Chaz. I was really 6 months into my dad dying and depressed about the fact that, damn, I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna do this shit twice. I don't even want to think about this shit. Like that's tough. And I really, like, every single time, like, I'll tell you now, if my mom doesn't answer the phone or call me back within a certain time, I'll pull up on her. Like, I've done that a couple of times. And she'll look at me like I'm crazy. Like, I'm good. Like, what you talking about? I said, Mom, like, you understand, like, that's a trigger for me now. Like, I never forget trying to get a hold of Pops and him not responding. Like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is weird. That's just one of those moments for me. So it's I can't tell you what, and I know, you know, because I'm a faithful man, and I pray every single day. And you know that feeling when something's wrong, and I never get that feeling, but it is still one of those triggers. Like, yo, I need you to answer the phone. Like, don't do that. But just to wrap mine up before I throw it to you, Chaz, I say it all the time, and I really think it's our responsibility as a living to make sure we mention and speak the names of those who have become ancestors and transitioned, because that's what's going to keep those memories and those people alive. And we think about them every day. The whole title is intentional about confronting grief, because that's one of the things I've learned in my journey in these 5 years is how to attack it head on. I mentioned I wouldn't have had these conversations 2-3 years ago. Like, I wouldn't have known how to have them. I wouldn't want to open up that moment. But now it's like, all right, then this happened. Now what? Like, how do you keep moving? How can you possibly assist someone who might be going through it? How can you continue to live your life? Because you know your pops will want to do that. You know your best friend or your grandma will want to see you do that. You know your pops will want to see you do that. You know what I mean? It's just, how do I continue to do this and build on this new normal? I can finally accept the fact that it'll never be the same. Now I got to start, like, forgiving myself for the stuff that I wish I could have done. You can't do it anymore. So don't worry about it. Like, it's over. Like, don't beat yourself up over this for the rest of your days on earth. Like, you know what I mean? Fine. You have so much good stuff that you live with, and just, there's a lot of closure that I didn't get. Like I said, in terms of conversations, like, even with my dad's, like, ashes, right? I still haven't really spread them anywhere. Like, and that's something I've always, it's just more so that finality thing. I'm like, you know what? You got to do that. That's why this year I was like, nah, I'm going to dedicate something to my pops, because Pops was a dope person. I don't want to just think about him in sadness. Like, I want to think about good times, celebrate the stuff that he was a part of, and take it from there. So I think it's really important just to make sure we speak everybody up, take advantage of every single second, because we really have a clock that you can't see. We have no idea how much time is left on it, man. So please take advantage of that. Chaz, what do you got to say before we get out of here?
I will say that there are times when I'm struggling, but for the most part, I think I've got a handle on where I'm going with this now. I'll also say that like you, Rich, I do certain things. I continue to make his barbecue sauce. I'm still working to try to get that out in the ether to everybody and stuff like that. Put it in stores when I can, put in or little storefronts, put in restaurants, you know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. I also came up with Chuck Day, because I'm a third, which I'm really a junior, but that's my dad being messed up in the head. Yeah, it's a long story, but so I'm a third, and I I decided, like, listen, man, we got to get together. So this year we got together as my siblings and my mother for my dad's birthday, and then I told the family, like, yeah, we're gonna start, like, opening it up to the rest of the family, like all that want to come and celebrate my dad, just get together. We'll, get on the grill no matter where we are, and get on the grill because my pops love the barbecue. Listen to his favorite music, just get together and love on each other and just kind of remember who he was, because he was big on family. And I'm one of them people that comes from a big family. Like, we go to out of town or something like that. I'm like, oh, I want to stay with them for the week. Okay, cool. I'm gonna bring you I'll go buy you some drawers and some underwear, and then you can just share clothes with your cousin type shit. You know what I'm saying? I got one of them, I had one of them families growing up. So, and just keeping his name alive and just keeping him in our thoughts, and everything we do. I got a painting of him. I went and got a painting of him, like him, me, and my brother. It's just certain things that I just always am trying to do. My aunt, who shares the same birthday as him, she says every Thanksgiving she's gonna go to, her and her daughter are gonna go to Dallas and to watch the Cowboys play, because my dad was a huge Cowboys fan.
Always, let's go. Your dad a smart man.
Yeah,
there we go.
He was a glutton for punishment, is what he was.
Straight up.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no. So, and then my sister's fiance, so they used to watch football together. On Sundays and stuff. So, just to do things, just to continue to do things to keep them alive, and just always remember that some of the sayings I've shared some of the sayings with that Rich, some of my dad's quotes. You know what I'm saying? Like he had a bunch of one-liners, but and I've even shared some with you. One of my favorite: if you ever feel disrespected, act accordingly. Yeah, that was straight from Pops. You know what I'm saying? So,
definitely,
yeah, man, just keep doing things to keep them alive.
100%, man. Well said. Shout out to those who have transitioned to the ancestors, man. Your impact was made. Shout out to both of you brothers for opening up, man. Hopefully everybody can start having these conversations more, even if it's somebody that that's going through something. Sometimes the best thing to do is just ask how you can show up. One of the best things, sweetest things that was done, Rachel, this week, man. I told her last week, and like I said, it's just being open about how you feel. She asked, how you doing? I could have gave the whole, I'm cool answer. Man, I'm actually kind of fucked up, man. I'm kind of going through it, man. I'm missing Pops around this time of the year. She just asked how she could show up for me. What does that look like for me? Which I thought was very, very thoughtful. And, man, sent me something today that really just helped me out, man. Just having good people around you. I appreciate you, Rachel, for that. I appreciate everybody else who's been checking in, hitting me up. Appreciate school, Rachel, for allowing me space to even have an episode of Culture Garden. I know they wouldn't think twice about it, but having an episode to where I can honor it to my Pops and have that week every single year dedicated to Pops. And like you said, Chaz, keep that name alive. So I'm a junior as well. So shout out to Big Dog, as I called him. But yeah, we appreciate y'all listening, man. Have these conversations, man. They're important. They're important that we just feel our feelings. And I think the closer we are to, being honest with each other, the easier these will get. Not easy in a good way, but you recognize the good a lot more than sitting with the pain, I think, when you're upfront about it. So appreciate y'all for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode. Might be a little bit lighter. I will be out of town, but we plan on doing something for y'all. With that being said, awitb2022@gmail.com. Another week in the books on Instagram. Hit us up individually. We'll be back for chapter 27. Y'all be cool. Y'all be cool. We out. Let's get better this week.
Peace.